So I've read a shit ton of manga ever since I could read, and when you go through so much material, you can't help but stumble on hidden gems, underrated mangas with exceptional stories. But that's gonna be it for another video. I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I've stumbled on some pretty trash mangas. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to disrespect anyone's manga, since all mangakas put a lot of work in their mediums. But still, I can't help to think that some themes and plots in certain mangas are straight up garbage. Not in the sense that they're useless, but because I honestly believe that if well constructed, any plot can be good. I personally think that sometimes the plot in mangas are just there to attract readers with shock value, without ever trying to depict something's real. I'm not saying that it's wrong to do it that way, but I seriously dislike plots that are over the top in their drama and shock value. So if you've seen the title of this video, you might have guessed that I'm referring to the mangas that I like to call I can fix her type of mangas. So I would qualify these mangas as pieces of fiction following the same narrative structures. The main character is an insecure dude slash incel who struggles with interacting with girls. He's the typical self-insert of the manga cast, so he by chance happens to meet a girl that is really gorgeous and beautiful. That's really important. If she was ugly, they wouldn't have met anyways. So once you have these conditions met, turns out that the girl is fucked up mentally. That can be expressed in many ways, but it always has to be represented as a weakness. For example, the girl could be depressed or insecure or even considered to be a whore. Thus, the main character would come as a hero and fixer and blah blah. The genre of this type of manga is always romance. I like to call the I can fix it mentality as a savior complex, where a man will feel pride when he saves a woman in need. In that case, we're talking about a depraved or mentally crazy woman who is depicted as a lower life form in most mangas. Now I won't go into the obvious and say that if well exploited, this savior complex can be quite entertaining in mangas in general. I do have many examples of well executed mangas or pieces of fiction like that, but most of the time you'll find boring and bland characters who are stupid incels who use the fact that they're helping their respective depraved girls as a way to fulfill their most selfish desires. So why do I despise this trope in mangas? Well, I'll be honest, if you're a rational and sociable human that's ever been in a relationship, you'll understand that what makes it healthy is the fact that you both have a mutual understanding of each other's, and you do not use each other in a way to feed off your complexes or lie to yourself. What I mean by that is that in a relationship, the worst thing is to try to save somebody, because you'll make them dependent of you, and that isn't love, that is dependence, and it is quite unhealthy. I can tell you that the line between a healthy and abusive relationship is quite thin, and I dislike the way mangas idealize that. When, for example, a slave or a girl that's been sleeping with men ends up being with a guy that suddenly makes her pure and in love with him. Now, this was the critic part, but I know that if you're watching this kind of video, it's not that you want to listen to some sleep-depraved dude's ramblings. We're not in a psychology class. You're here because you want to know some good aspects of that specific concept. Now, there are some mangas that exploit the savior complex or the I can fix her mentality in a genuinely complex and interesting way. I'll give you 3 examples from average to good to extremely trash. I'll start by one that most must have read or seen. It's Scum's Wish by Mengo who's the mangaka of Oshinoko. In this manga, we have the character of Akane, who is the teacher of the main character, not to be confused by Akane in Oshinoko. They are 2 different characters. They're kind of weird, to be honest. Both have a mental illness, probably. No, I'm just kidding. In the manga, she's characterized as a girl who's into playing with men, mentally and physically using them by the bias of seduction. She's quite wicked, but it is later described by her as a way to cope with a life of abuse. One student has a crush on her in the story and tried to fix her. He got played by her, which I found to be quite fun. I'm sadistic. Her character is interesting when she comes into a relationship with a teacher of the same school named Narumi, who's been a goody two-shoes and innocent guy throughout the whole show. I won't go into the plot of Scum's Wish because it's just fucked up, and just read it or watch it. And so Narumi admits that he doesn't care if she cheats on him and that he wants to marry her. This guy is the ultimate cuck, and now the relationship between the two seems to be working as he kind of purifies her in his blissful innocence. Now, about that, the first approach of the student that tried to fix her is quite realistic in the sense that there are many people who actually have the intent to purify and love a girl, no matter how depraved they may be. The other one with the teacher is romanticized and idealized in a way that's totally unrealistic. But I'm not here to spout bullshit and do a critic of this work. I'm going to be honest, what I like with Scum's Wish is the art. I love Manga's work, but I'm going to be honest, her plots are over the top and super depraved and tragic without any justification sometimes. If you read her one-shots, you'll know it. I've been following her for years now. I've read all of her work. She's one of my favorite mangakas because I'm client of this type type of works, but I honestly think that the approach of the savior complex in Scum Wish is quite basic and not even the main theme of the story, which is actually unrequited love. Now another example, which is one of the most underrated one, comes from the manga Tomorrow I'll Be Someone's Girlfriend. This manga will have its own video because I honestly find it to be so underrated in many aspects. You can see this manga as the darker version of Rent a Girlfriend in its first part. We have a girl named Yuki who's a rental girlfriend with a burn scar on her face, which she manages to hide perfectly with makeup. One day she gets a client named Suda who's a perfectly normal young man. They have a normal date, but a day later Suda meets her in a convenience store where she does not wear any makeup, thus revealing her scar. The guy decides to keep booking her. They go to an inn and sleep together in the same room. Suda admits that he doesn't care about her scars and wants to get her out of this life for her to be with him. Yuki decides to refuse at the end, even blocking the guy and leaving him. What I like with this manga is the way it depicts their relationship. It was short-lasted and ended abruptly. Like most relationships in real life, the girl is far too deep into trauma and isn't stupid either to let herself be saved by some insecure dude. The savior complex is here quite well made, as it reveals that not all girls who suffer are stupid or weak. Suffering actually makes someone stronger, and it's not an apparently kind soul that will save a woman or anybody, to be honest. And it's not because you love her and you want to save her that you'll manage to save her, when you can't even save yourself and realize what kind of person you are. Now last but not least, and I really don't want to waste time on this one, it's called Nanjou-san Wants to Be Held by Me. And our main character, who I forgot the name for very valid reasons, sees a gyaru offering sex to a guy in a classroom. She sees that he sees her and go talks to him, offering him sex as well. Then the guy just says no, he's not into girls with blonde hair, and the girl actually dyes her hair black or reversed to black hair. Then some stupid romance relationship starts where the girl turns out to be so pure and not depraved as she meets our main character. To be honest, this is exactly the type of mangas I dislike. But hey, it's life. There are some mangas with plots that are for younger demographics, and I completely understand it. But here you have a perfect example of a bad exploitation of the psychology between characters. It's just a self-insert for readers to be happy when reading it because the main character is hot as hell, and that's all there is to it. So now that we've seen different examples, I think that you've guessed which mangas are which. But I'm not here to spit on any of them. It's just my personal preference. I love reading mangas, and it's only normal to critique if you can justify your arguments. I think that the trope of the I can fix her is poorly exploited and over the top in most mangas. Now I'd like to conclude with a personal anecdote. A friend of mine from a rich family found a girl who was considerably less wealthy. He wanted to buy everything for her, make her happy. He admitted her to his job, bought her new stuff, made her move out of her house, paid for her studies and stuff. In the end, the girl got mad at him for one reason. He didn't treat her as a person, but as a prize he saved. So I hope that you understood my point. First of all, don't take everything you see in fiction for real. And secondly, never objectify or idealize relationships. It's not something that makes you happy. In the short term, it can cover some wounds, but in the end, it'll never heal but be a superficial illusion. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this more, introspective video. And if you like it, let me know in the comment if you'd like anything to be changed, what I can improve. It will really help me. See you later, next week or in a few days. Bye guys.